I really like the last lines of what we just sang, that you are holy in power and glory, in kindness and mercy, O God. You know, so often I don't know what in the world I'm going to say or sing, and then as I say it or sing it, I go, wow, that is really profound. Power and glory, oh, kindness and mercy. Whew. How important it is. You know, as I come here, I'm just privileged every time I come here and meet with you folks, because the wonderful thing about Calvary Chapel is the people who are here. And in times like Jerry just mentioned, the cleanup around here, walking around seeing how all the stuff that was done. I mean, you can hire somebody, but it never gets done the way it gets done when people who just out of love and kindness and mercy just pull a weed, do a little thing, and that's the wonderful thing about it. It's great to see how people help. And last week with the snack, you know, it's like, what's so exciting about Snack Sunday? I mean, couldn't you go out and buy something? The fact that people who are already serving in so many ways want to come and bring some snacks, to me, that's the tastiest, most wonderful thing about it. And so that's what I think. If you'll open your Bibles along with me to Luke chapter 13, I think we're going to finish Luke 13 here today. And then you know where we're going next week, Luke 14. Woo, here it comes. But you know, Luke 13 begins with some bad judgments about bad news. And as bad news can be, what's worse than bad news is the bad judgments we make about the bad news. Because stuff happens. But then we make it worse by all of the things that we start to weave. And there at the beginning of chapter 13, it says, on the same occasion, there were some present who reported to Jesus about those Galileans whose blood Pilate had mingled along with their sacrifices. And he answered them, saying, do you suppose these Galileans were greater sinners than all other Galileans because they suffered this? I tell you, no. But unless you repent, you will all likewise perish. Or do you suppose that those 18 on whom the tower in Siloam fell over there in Jerusalem, and it killed them, do you think they were worse culprits than all of those Judeans living in Jerusalem? Again, I tell you no. But unless you change your ways, you're going to likewise perish. Now, everybody dies. If you haven't noticed, it's the death rate is 100%. Everybody dies. But that doesn't mean that they're worse culprits or worse sinners because they died. Everybody dies somehow or other. These are terrible. This is bad news. Some people died. But everybody dies. The problem, though, is not everybody lives. And Jesus came that we might have life. He came to start the living, not to stop the dying. The dying keeps happening. But he comes to start the living so that when you die, it's really not the end. It's just one more step in the process that he began. He teaches us about life. He is the life. And he says to these folks, look, those who live by the sword will die by the sword. And if you don't quit your political national agenda to make Israel great, to make the Jewish nation great again, you're going to die by the sword. Don't worry, the Romans will do it to you. The Roman sword isn't done killing and spilling the blood. The Roman buildings or the Jewish buildings in Jerusalem aren't done falling. It's going to get worse. And so he said, if you don't stop with that agenda, if that's the way you want to live, well, I'll tell you, these aren't the only ones that are going to die that way. And then, having said that, he teaches us all the true judgment of life. How do you judge a life? It's not based on how long you live or how you died. You judge a life based upon how much fruit was born in that life. And so in verse 6, he began telling this parable. A certain man had a fig tree which had been planted in his vineyard, and he came looking for fruit on it, and he didn't find any. And he goes on with that story that it's about the fruitfulness of your life. Not how long you lived, but how much fruit you bore in the course of your life. And he goes on to tell them that that's the way you judge life, not how you died, but how did you live, and how much fruit was born in the course of your life. That's what matters. And then he goes on in the Sabbath. We saw that he heals a woman. And he shows what his purpose is in healing her. He gives her what she needs. For 18 years, she'd been bent over double, but it's more than just a miracle for one person. It's a parable of what he would do for all people. Here she was bent over double, and Jesus comes along and lifts her up. Here she was a picture of what Jesus said the Pharisees and religious leaders love to do. Bind up burdens, put them on people's backs. Don't lift a finger to help them. Here she was bound up with some sort of spirit, and Jesus removed that spirit and told her, stand up straight. And again, in that miracle, not just a gift to that woman, a gift to us all. That's what he's come for. Not political upheaval, but personal uprightness. Stand up straight. Look up to God. Look at one another, eye to eye, face to face. Look to the Romans. Learn to even love the Romans. But it's not about living underneath this bent down status, but again, you can be made upright. Like we saw last time, Peter, when he gave the very first Christian sermon on that first Pentecost, his last line was, God has given you the ability to escape this scoliotic, twisted, bent generation. We can be upright. We can look up to God. We can have upright, eye-to-eye, face-to-face conversations with one another. We can be made men and women again. Again, what he did for this one woman, he would do for all. And then having done that, he gives a number of parables, pictures of hope. Hope that comes in very small packages, through very small portals. And yet it becomes huge. A little seed, a little leaven, last week, a little door. But you don't measure the greatness by the size of the seed or the leaven or how big the door is, because each of these contains life. Jesus said, I am the door. The seed, the leaven, the door itself, it admits light. It admits life. And when life comes in, even a little light, when it comes in, when that light is life, man, great things are going to happen. Not overnight, but don't worry. Great things will happen. Don't be afraid, little flock. Your Heavenly Father has chosen gladly to give you the kingdom. And that's the sort of stuff we've been seeing so far. And then finally, where we left off last week in verse 29, he says, and they will come from east and west, and from north and south, no longer just the little kingdom of Judea, but from all over the world, people will come, and they will relax. They'll recline at the table in the kingdom of God. But behold, some are last who will be first, and some are first will be last. Now that's the summary of everything up to this point. I think I did it a little faster than some of the other times. So we have time to move forward and complete the chapter, but all of that leads up to this last little bit. And it says, verse 31, just at that time some Pharisees came up saying to him, go away, get out of here, because Herod wants to kill you. Now it seems strange, Pharisees coming to try and help Jesus? Well, the fact is there were some Pharisees who were, well, they were fond of him somewhat. They had trouble with some of his teaching, but all the Pharisees weren't opposed to him. So this may have been totally sincere, or it may have been, again, political. That, look, you're a problem to us here in Galilee. We would just as soon you would go off to Judea, go off to Jerusalem. And so they say, look, Herod, the king who has jurisdiction in this area, he wants to kill you. So they're saying essentially, protect your life, preserve your life. And it may well have been sincere. Who knows? But what's clear is that the way life is measured, when they say protect your life, preserve your life, prolong your life, what's clear, even if they were totally sincere, protect your life. The way they measured life and the way Jesus measures life were not the same. Just like in the picture of the fig tree, the life is measured by the fruit. If there's no more fruit, why is it even here? There's no life. If there's no love, there's no life. If there's not the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, if there's no love, if there's no fruit, why be here anymore? But the Pharisees hadn't matured yet to that point. They might have been content, like a lot of us, with a really big tree, a really big fig trees. Sycamore trees can get huge. And a big tree and a luxuriant tree and a tree that is impressive to all, they may well have been contented with such a thing and thought of it as a success. That could be true of a nation. That could be true individually. Really, nations, families, tribes, all of that is just our own ego built up big. And they might have thought, well, this is a success. But Jesus would say, if there's no fruit, doesn't matter how big it is. Doesn't matter how many leaves it has. It's not really alive. So when it comes to a life, they say, protect your life, preserve your life, which means live a little longer, get a little older, accomplish a little bit more in the course of your life, protect your life. But Jesus is saying, look, if life isn't lived for love, it doesn't matter. A whole different way. So sincerely, they may have meant it. Protect your life. But Jesus thinks along a different line than religious people think. And he said to them, go and tell that fox, referring to Herod, go tell that fox, behold, I cast out demons, and I perform more cures. And I do that today, and I do it tomorrow, and the third day I will reach my goal. Now when he talks about his goal, his end desire, he's ultimately talking about going to the cross. It's very clear that when he came to the cross, that wasn't the crisis, that wasn't the oh no moment. That was the climax. It's finished. And then after the cross and the resurrection and all of the outpouring of the Spirit that's followed, all of that comes from that sacrificial moment there, one that we'd never recognize. But he truly was the king there, though crowned with thorns. He really was the king. Behold the king. Behold the Lamb who takes away the sin of the world. And so he saw it that way. On the third day, I reach my climax. I come to the end. But in the meanwhile, he says, I'm going to do what I do. And I do it every day. I help people. Not put on a magic show. I cure people. I take people with troubles and I take their troubles on myself and I take their troubles away. I take people who are bound up with spirits like that woman we saw earlier and I set them free. And he says, I'm going to do that every day until I come to the cross. And that's going to be the ultimate. But until I do, I'm going to keep on doing what I do. He says, verse 33, nevertheless, I must journey on today and tomorrow and the next day, for it cannot be that a prophet should perish outside of Jerusalem. And so again, here's this idea. He knows that he's headed toward Jerusalem with a very specific purpose. He said, no one takes my life away, I lay it down. And this talk about I do it today and tomorrow and then on the third day, that wasn't literal because he still has a few more weeks at least before he comes to the cross. And yet, truth doesn't have to be literal to be truth. In fact, it's often more poignant when it's pictorial or it's a parable or it's a picture. And this whole idea of 1 day, 2 day, the third day, it's throughout the Bible. It's this whole idea of the third day glory, the third day accomplishment. And of course, Easter and all of that. On the third day, he rose again. We have that third day theme throughout. So yeah, this day, that day, I'm not expecting that Herod got it, or maybe anyone else hearing it at the time got it. But Jesus knows what he's talking about. He says, I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to take care of people. I'm going to love people. I'm going to set people free. I'm going to help people. And I'm going to do it for a couple of days, and then on the third day. So symbolic, yeah. But also, I think, a picture of something that says, I'm going to do what I do for a few days. You know, we're often wondering, how many days do I have left? Like the guy last week. How few are being saved? We always want statistics. We think that we'll perform better if we know. If I just had more information, I'd be a better person. You'll see. We have all that we need to know. And so he says, I'm going to do something for not just, this isn't my last day. I'm going to do it for a couple of days, at least. But he's talking about a lifetime that will last more than 1 day, but something that's not going to last long. My life is going to be lived, but it's not going to be prolonged. It's not going to last much longer, and I'm going to come to the very thing that I have come for. But this whole idea of 1 day, 2 days, and the third day is saying, my life is going to be measured in a way that you don't measure life. My life is going to be measured not by how many days, 2 would be enough, but by how much fruit. And of course, Jesus, when he laid down his life, you know, every day that he lived, he was bearing fruit. Every day he lived, if you'd have known him, if you'd have seen him, there was kindness, there was gentleness, there was patience. The fruit of the Spirit was flowing from him all the time. But ultimately, when he went to the cross and everyone was just so overwhelmed, when everyone wept, how could such a good man be treated this way? On that darkest of days. The fact is that no greater love does one have than he lays down his life for his friends. And all the fruit that came forth from that, he said, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains unique all by itself. I'd be the one and only. I'd be a museum piece. But I didn't come to be the great man. I came to be the great Savior. And that man lays his life down so that all of us can have that seed implanted, that leaven come inside of us. We can all go through that little door and have a great life, an abundant life. So he speaks of the fact that, look, I'm not going to live much longer, but I'm going to live really well. And as long as I live, I'm going to really live. And then when I die, I'm going to really, really live. Even in my death, I'm going to bring about life. And so when they say, Herod's out to get you, protect your life, prolong your life, preserve your life, Jesus essentially said, I will. I'll protect my life. You know how I do it? I live. That's how you protect life. You live it. You don't preserve it. You preserve dead things. Do that for pickles and pig's feet and whatever else that's dead that you want to preserve. You prolong something to keep it from falling apart. I got to prolong it. But all you've done is kept it together. But life itself, it's protected by living. And when it lives, even if it dies, it sows seeds so that out of that fruit that was born, it propagates the next generation. It never dies. Life coming in a little package, little seed, little leaven, little door. Don't worry about it. Don't be afraid, little flock. It's going to win. It's going to succeed in a huge way. So when they even sincerely say, you better protect your life, watch out for Herod, Jesus essentially said, I'm going to protect my life. Watch how I do it. I'm going to do what I do. I'm not going to change my course because I'm already doing what I ought to do. I don't, put my finger up to the wind. Am I doing what I ought to do? I don't ask a public opinion poll, do you think I'm doing what I ought to do? I don't seek to be understood because the fact is, the closer you come to doing what the will of God is, the less you'll be understood by others. He says, I just came to do what I do. And I'm going to keep on doing it until I die. And then when I die, I don't really die. I continue to live because that's what life is all about. And so that's his answer. Yeah, I'll protect my life. Watch how I do it. I'm going to live my life. And then he says finally, verse 34, Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those sent to her. How often I wanted to gather your children together like a hen would gather her brood under her wings, but you would not have it. Behold, your house is left to you desolate. And I say to you, you shall not see me until the time comes when you say, Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. It says, you were so concerned about your religion, about your temple, about your house, the one I cleansed a couple of times. Like, you can have your house, but it's not a home. There's not the love, there's not the community. Where the love and community will take place is under the wings of the hen, in this case. And he says, that's what I wanted to do. You want to keep your house, you want to keep your religion, you want to keep your traditions, I offered you a home. And if you're a little chick, where's home? Just under mama's wings. Doesn't matter where mama is, I'm home. Why? Because I'm close to the one from whom I've come. I'm close to the heart. I'm immersed in the warmth of that one who loves me and I love. Now, I know I'm getting kind of Walt Disney-ish here, in the sense of hens loving. But again, we think that way, and the Lord himself uses a picture of that sort. And he says, here is how a life is protected. Here's how I will protect my people, all of whom his own disciples, by the way, all died, and they didn't die the nicest of deaths, but not because they were great sinners or culprits, but because they learned too. My life is not about something to prolong or protect or preserve. My life is to be lived, and out of the abundance of their life, they could have joy even while they were being put to death by the Roman sword. It wasn't a political or a religious thing. It was a life thing. And yet all of the people from henceforth, they would be protected, and you and I will be protected. What do you want to do? Prolong a life that you don't even enjoy? Or you want to just enjoy life even if it means you go to a death you wouldn't have chosen. But every day of your life, it's like the old adage that if you enjoy the work that you do, you don't work a day in your life because you enjoy it, a labor of love. But the labor of love comes from, first of all, coming to the heart of the one who says, come to me. He says, that's the way I would have protected you. Not get away from Herod here and then get away from Caesar there and then run over here and then make an alliance over there. I would have protected you by each of you personally choosing to come to my heart, to come to me. And what a picture that is. The hen. Here Jesus uses that picture, showing him as the protector of humanity. This wasn't just for a few. Here's the protector of humanity, a chicken. The protector of humanity. You want the picture he paints, there's many pictures, but here the picture is not a lion, not even a lamb, but something smaller still, a chicken. Could you imagine right now, going over as a special liaison from the United States to South Korea, and those folks rightly afraid, what kind of weapons are going to come our way from the north? And you come over with this special shield that will protect them. And when they look to you with hope because you're the U.S. representative and you extend a chicken, say, there. We call it Strategic Defense Initiative. Doesn't matter what you call it. Even when we try to defend ourselves with things, I don't want to die by the sword, so I'll build a better sword. We call it something like Star Wars or Patriot missiles. You don't call them chicken missiles. We're going to send up all our chickens but that's not just a new way we started to think. They thought that way in that day. And yet Jesus chose this picture. He didn't say, man, they mess with you, they mess with me, man, they're messing with the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He says, no more of this just Judah stuff. This is something bigger. This isn't even just the lamb who takes away the sin of the world. This is the chicken who could protect anyone who would simply come to his heart. Come to him. Come to that warm place beneath his wing. That's the picture he paints. Now, Jesus never concerned himself about images. Never concerned. He said, you can say anything about the Son of Man and it'll be forgiven. I'm not into my name recognition. I'm not into image. I'm not into picture, because he knows that's nothing. Little people put on big images. A truly great person can say, you know what? I'm a little door. I'm a little seed. I'm a little leaven. But he's confident. I am great. And I know I'm great. And no one else needs to know. Just come to me, taste and see the Lord is good. And you'll see that if you admit a little life, great things will happen. Great things will take place. But here he presents this picture of how he would protect us. And clearly his protection, how to protect your life. I think everyone wants to protect their life. I mean, right now with this whole thing about the Equifax and the protecting my identity, protecting my, how can I freeze everything out there and keep myself from getting ripped off? But more than your credit, to protect your life, here's how. And you don't even have to give up your Social Security number. Here's how you protect your life. Jesus gives us this picture. And it's clearly, just like elsewhere in Scripture, it's not by might, it's not by power, but it's by my Spirit, saith the Lord. The Spirit of love, the Spirit of Christ, something that seems so weak. There's nothing in this that appeals to the pride. Nothing. There's nothing in this that's like, wow, we could be the little chicks and grow up to be big chickens one day. There's nothing in this that's going to make us say, wow, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that awesome? This is not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord. And if we're humble enough to say, you know what, maybe I've been going about it all wrong, then in humility we can come to him and say, I want to be, not just look great or even feel great, I want to truly be great. And of course, the door's open. Jesus said, if you want to be the greatest in the kingdom, be the servant of all. But people will walk all over me. Not if you don't let them. It's not about being a doormat. It's about being someone to help others. And Jesus said, that's what I'm going to do every day I live. Now, he's got more power than I do. I wish I could do the miracles and set people free the way he would. But I can do what little things I can do. Each of us have our gifts and our abilities. And Jesus said, I'm going to do that every day while I live. And that's the way you protect your life. You live your life. And it's not by might, not by power, but by living according to his Spirit. And this picture of a hen bringing the little brood of chicks under her wings. Now, there are stories about hens who have protected their little chicks from fire, from the fox, from the eagle, from predators. And like a lot of stories, especially when tied to the Bible and spoken from a pulpit, they're probably not true. I hate it when that happens. I hate it when I've heard a great story, it's fun, I've heard it, it's all over the internet, it's beautiful, until you go to one of these sites that does a lot of debunking, and they show that it never really happened. Dang, another great story. But even though it's overblown, I think it's clearly true. Occasionally. There have been, we know certainly little chicks go underneath the mother hen. That's clear. And she does that not just because it was warm when they were eggs, but because they naturally know that's a comforting place, and it's comforting for her to do so. But clearly there have been some times, somewhere in a barnyard, where a fire came across and where mother may have been cooked, but somehow, at least from smoke inhalation, the chicks were preserved. That's natural. Of course that's happened, apart from the really good stories I wanted to tell you that I found out weren't true. And again, with Herod, Jesus said he's a fox. But you know what? I'm not afraid of the fox, and neither should you be. Clearly, there's been stories where I research things for you. I'm so frustrated with so many times I've said things and wished I could go back. Now with the internet, it's so cool to be able to just do some research and go, dang, another story gone. But in my research, I saw on YouTube, you can see it for yourself. Hens getting the chicks underneath when a cat comes along or when something else comes along. And then the hen chasing off the cat, and then the hen going over and sitting on top of the cat and trying to hatch a kitten. All kinds of fun stuff you can see on YouTube. But the fact is that predators do come after chicks, and hens will go over to protect the little chicks. And Jesus refers to Herod as a fox. And while the Pharisees say, get away from the fox, Jesus says, I'm not worried about the fox. Let the chicks come to me. And of course, in those cases, typically what happens, kind of like the lizard when it loses its tail, the lizard gets away, but the tail gets eaten. In the case of the hen who protects the chicks, it's the hen, not because she's tougher than the fox, but the fox gets a hold of the hen. She lays down her life, so to speak. It's built right into the DNA, and the little chicks get away. And the Romans, the standard, when the Romans came marching into town and they had their big banners and their big standards, they didn't have chickens on there. No one would. Here come the Roman chickens. They had eagles. And of course, the eagle that flies over. And again, it's been shown that a hen will, seeing that bird flying above, will essentially lay down her own life to protect the chicks. And so it's that kind of a picture. From the fire, from the fox, from the eagle, all the things that Jesus would have saved them from if they weren't so busy with their sword trying to save themselves, trying to fix this with our new program. He says, no, go back to the Sermon on the Mount and learn to really live, learn to really love. And so, it fits with all of that. And in the picture of the hen gathering the chicks together, it's a picture of something that's very personal in the sense that, might be a dozen chicks, but each one has to come individually. And it's an individual, a personal decision. Not that I think chicks think that much about it, but it's a personal decision. And maybe for us, you don't have to be that smart, but it's a bird brain could do it. We just individually run to Jesus. Jesus said, come to me if you're weary and heavy laden. Come to me. And so coming to him, individual decision. Coming where? Right next to the heart, not of a hen, but right next to the heart of the Savior. In troubled times, let not your heart be troubled. Come and like John did, lean your troubled head right here next to my heart. You don't understand? It's okay. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. Lean your understanding upon his heart. It's a personal decision. And when they are saved, it's not saved under some great iron shield. It's saved beneath these living feathers, soft, tender, saved in warmth, saved in tenderness. And of course, yes, saved to community. There is a community there, not because it's like, come on, chicks, we got to get it together. How are we going to figure this one out? But each one personally says, man, I'm going home to mama. Each one of us, I'm going back to my Creator. I'm heading to Jesus. I hear what he says, come to me, weary, heavy laden. That's me, weary, heavy laden. We come to him. But when we come to him, the picture of the kingdom is not a picture of a mighty army. It's a picture of a little flock. It's a community, but what kind of community are we? There's nothing for the pride here. There's nothing to go, woo, look at that. The chickens. They're not even grown-up chickens, they're little chicks. But Jesus said in the last chapter, don't be afraid, little flock. Why? Because your heavenly Father has chosen gladly to give you the kingdom. So my point in all of this is there's nothing for the pride here. And that's a good thing. Because pride is typically our problem. There's nothing in this picture here that you're going to put on the banners. Nothing you're going to put on your helmets and go out there and we are the chickens, the mighty, mighty chickens. It's like, okay, fine. Have fun. Play your games. Don't kill anybody, but compete, and my tribe's better than your tribe, my group's better than your group. Go out there and start a league and have some rules and play fair and have fun. But come on, let's get serious about real life and about the real purpose of God and about what it means to protect your life. And you can't even talk about protecting your life until you know what your life is. It's not just preserving and prolonging your life. It's protect the part that bears fruit. Protect the part that most needs to be protected. Jesus said, how often I wanted to gather your children together just as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, but you would not have it. Now, why do you suppose they wouldn't have it? Why would they? I suspect part of it, at least, is because there's nothing for the pride here. There's nothing for our national pride. There's nothing for my personal pride. There's nothing here for my ego. Everything for my soul, but nothing much for my ego. I don't want that kind of protection. Give us Barabbas. You can have your Jesus. He didn't turn out to be like the one we thought he was when we said, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, Son of David. Turns out we thought he was going to come to do one thing. And as we'll see in chapter 19, when they all cheered, hurrah, Jesus wept. If you knew what it would take, the things that really make for peace. But you wouldn't have it. It had to be your way, so it's going to be your way. Now, that's not the end. Some are first who are last, some are last who are first. But at some point, God help us to learn something. At some point, to take Jesus seriously and his words seriously and what he says is powerful seriously. Come to me if you want protection. Come to me if you want real power. Do it my way. My yoke is easy. My load is light. No more burdens on your back, bent over double, trying to do your religious duty. I'm meek and I'm lowly of heart. Learn to be like that. You got nothing to prove. Be powerful. Be strong. Be real. You will find rest for your soul. That's the kind of life I want to prolong. It's a life that's restful, because that's real life. And the life that's fruitful is restful because we were created for that. So wherever there is love, there's life. Beloved, let us love one another. For love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knoweth God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. Wherever there's love, there's life. Even if it comes in the tiniest package. Little seed, little leaven, little door, little chicken, little chick. If there's love there, that's great. And out of life, life will proceed. Out of love, love will proceed. The fruit that tastes so sweet propagates the next generation. The measure of life is the fruit that's being born. If there is real life worth protecting, there is love. And where there is love, there will be growth. Though it may not be in your timing, love is patient. Love is kind. Love begets love. No shock and awe. Love begets love. I was talking to my son, older son, earlier this week. Said last week he had a birthday. So I went up to his house, celebrate his birthday, and they live in the foothills of the Sierras, and they've got several acres, and kind of doing the gentleman farmer sort of thing. It's like, don't quit your day job, whatever you do, but go ahead, get some chickens, get some ducks, get some, plant some things, go ahead and have fun with that. So they've been doing that for a while, and I was up there visiting him last week, and I was looking around. I said, what's kind of quiet around here, And he said, didn't you hear about all of our excitement? No, I'm not on Facebook. I don't know what's going on in anybody's life because I'm not on Facebook. But at any rate, I like to do face-to-face, and he's telling me what happened. He said, a big cat, we're not even saying what, but there's lots of big cats up here, a big predator got in over this 8-foot fence, came in and just devastated the chicks and the ducks and the roosters and all of this. That was the first night, and then you fix it up and think you got it better. The second night comes back and takes care of the ones that didn't get taken care of. All gone. But there was apparently one little hen and one little chick that was off somewhere. In fact, the hen was so busy trying to take care of this little chick that she was off in a corner and missed all the excitement, missed the whole party. And she and the little chick survived. And so they got her out and put her into a different place where it's all secured and no way that a big cat can get inside. And now this little chick is there, and they named the chick Hope. Little Hope here. And David said a few weeks later, they realized that even though the big paw of the cat couldn't get in, lots of little ants could. And in a way you didn't expect it, the ants got in. And he was off at work doing what he does, saving lives and being a hero and fighting fires and all this stuff, and he gets this text, Hope is dead. He says, oh my God, Hope is dead. And he said, you know what, I know better. You never name a farm animal. You never get attached. We knew better, but we just it was so devastating for all the little kids to see all these animals that they would hug and love. But I'm thinking of my grandkids and how they love these animals. And I think of them having one survive, and we'll call it Little Hope. And then Hope is dead. And my thought is, this world sucks. That shouldn't be. Where is God in all of this? That's just me thinking, okay? That's the way I feel sometimes. And my son was saying, we never even should have named it. But I was thinking, and I shared with you a little bit a few months ago about a little hummingbird we tried to rescue. And you know what? I'm here to tell you that hope is alive. I believe that. Not every animal that's ever lived or gone extinct, not every dinosaur, not everything out in the forest, but I think every little thing that we've loved and named and taken into our home and said, this matters to me. If it matters to us, it matters to him. So I'm not worried about that. Hope lives. Now abide faith, hope, love. The greatest of these is love. And you don't regret the fact that, we tried and we loved. No, keep trying and keep loving a whole lot more. Don't name all the 4-H animals. Do not do that. But, the fact is that there are some things that are just maybe to be harvested, maybe something that's a matter of survival. But, once we've survived, can we learn to live? And now that we have all kinds of ways to stay alive, can we really learn to live our lives? And that has everything to do with tenderness and love and concern. And so the fact is that Jesus was showing us in this imagery even back then, in a very cruel and harsh world. Man, you had to be tough to live in a world like they had to live in. But understand this, salvation must never be confused with survival. Salvation is not survival. Everybody dies. Get over it. You will. Because of Jesus, death is a part of life. It's not the end of life. It's just a part of life. And when it comes, it comes. But until it comes, live. Protect your life. The desire, the purpose, God's purpose for us is to thrive, not just survive. We've all known those people. Maybe you have a cousin like this or an uncle or somebody who wears camouflage way too often and who has all kinds of stuff stored up. And when the bad stuff starts to go down, they're going in. They're hitting the bunkers. They've already got it ready. And when the last atomic dust hits the ground, they're going to come on out. And they're going to build a whole new world. And my thought has always been, I'd rather just go down in the first bomb than to come out of the bunkers and live with a bunch of people who survived. And they got the weapons to make sure they survive. Go back and watch the old Twilight Zone episodes. They got some great ones about that. About what it means to be the only one in the neighborhood with the fallout shelter and what that does to a community. But when Jesus says, you come to me individually, that creates communities. Because individually we come to a place where we're close to the heart of God. A place where we not survive, where we live in warmth and tenderness, where we actually learn to thrive and learn to love one another because we're in close proximity. We've all come to a common Savior. The goal of life is to love, not build a better church, a bigger church, not to build a bigger business of any sort. The goal of life, your life, my life, is just to love. And others may have opinions about how well you're doing. Don't listen to that. Just look at the fruit. And if you find there's patience and kindness and gentleness, if you find, thank God I'm finding. I enjoy life more. I enjoy people more. I like people. I love people. I care for people. Some of them are a pain in the neck. But I'm learning to love. I'm growing in love. I'll tell you, my two oldest friends celebrated birthdays this last week, each of them 100 years old. And man, I hope I can become like them. No complaints, no problems, everything's good. Life is good as much as I can remember. This is the best day of my life. What a wonderful thing. The goal of life is to love. So protect your life means what? Protect your love. Protect your love. In other words, it's not do what you have to do, get a bomb, get a gun, get a bomb shelter, do what you have to do to keep your body alive. That's survival. No, do what you have to do to keep your love alive. That's protecting your life. Do what you have to do to keep your love alive. And for me, I have to go back to Jesus all the time because right now, man, I'm starting to get hard. I'm starting to figure the only way I can get through life is I got to be tougher than you because you're a pain and I'm going to be a bigger pain and I'm going to... No. I've got to find a way, go back to the heart of my Savior and find a way to keep my love alive. I want to stay tender. I want to stay warm. I want to stay strong, not brittle and hard, but strong and pliable and confident. Not living in fear, living in confidence. I got nothing to prove. You may not think much of me. I'm not that much. But you know what? I'm greatly loved. And I'm willing to overflow, let my life be a blessing to you. I hope it is. But it's that adage, you've seen it a bunch of times. Live, love, laugh, enjoy. Enjoy your life. That's how you protect your life. You live your life. If you want to save your life, savor life. Savor it. Enjoy your life. If you do evil, you don't enjoy that. There's a reason why you do that. It's a sickness. Whatever's true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and excellent, those are the things. Savor those things. And they're everywhere. Good things everywhere. If you live every day, if you live every single day as though it were your last, not running around in fear, but in confidence just like Jesus, I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to love people. I'm going to take care of people. I'm going to watch out for whoever my neighbor happens to be now. But I'm going to do that every day. If you live your day, every day, as though it were the last, it will last. And it'll last forever. That's the way you live a life that lasts. Don't preserve, don't prolong. Just live. And there's no regrets in that.